analyze it together, and then we'll recap with the forecast and talk about a whole lot of different stuff in between. Today, I kind of wanted to talk about some shrooms. It is Morel mushroom season. Perhaps we're getting into the peak of that, which doesn't last long. If you're a mushroom hunter, you know how frustrating it can be and difficult. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. I found an interesting site as well. That it's kind of like those bird sites, the bird sightings. It actually has a map of some of the latest sightings and pictures of Morel mushrooms. I know some of you out there are rather passionate about that. Now, weather-wise, we are going to see a warm front move through today. With that, you'll notice increasing clouds coming in from the west. There is some light rain that's going to try to fall, but it's hitting dry air at the surface. We've talked about this several times over the last couple of weeks, and that is what we call virga, V-I-R-G-A, and that is rain that evaporates before hitting the ground. Might get some sprinkles this afternoon that make it through some of that dry air, but you can notice virga, if you look at the cloud layer, the base of the clouds, a little streak of darkness. It kind of looks like rain coming from the cloud, and then it shuts off. It evaporates before it hits the ground. So it might be some of that virga out there. As we have that, again, the warm front lifting over the area, we got a south breeze that'll kick in today, tonight, and tomorrow especially. And then we also have at what we call the 500 millibar level, that's at 18,000 feet, a little energy that's moving through, and that's what's going to produce that precipitation at the mid-level. But at the surface, again, the humidity will stay pretty low with some dry air. Tomorrow, 80 degrees. I think we're going to hover near 80 for this weekend. I've actually bumped up the temperatures for Easter Sunday as well. And the rain chances aren't looking that threatening overall. While there will be a shower chance at times this weekend, it might be timing out pretty good for the daytimes. And I know there's a lot going on. We've got springtime events. Racing Louisville's playing Saturday at 3. Tyler Childers has a concert at Kroger Field in Lexington Saturday evening, so want to do our best to dodge any of those rain chances. And before we dig into the forecast, I want to thank some of our partners in WSB, Libs Paving Company, Lions Roofing. They have been crazy busy because of all the active weather lately. So thanks to all of our partners for partnering up with us, and thank you for partnering up with us and watching live here this morning. I am going to be monitoring the comments, and if you want to pop in, just say good morning, or if you have any questions and any suggestions, feel free to be definitely a big part of the show here for us. Josh Mabe, thanks for tuning in this morning over there in J-Town. And Judy Tyndall, thanks for watching this morning. How's the weather in Cloverport, Kentucky? Yeah, maybe that sprinkle chance, just like all of us. Angie Fenton tuning in this morning. And my beautiful wife, Morel Peine, thanks for tuning in this morning as well. We might try to make her a guest Monday morning if she's brave enough to do that. Beverly Haggis from Borden, Indiana. And Dorothy McDaniel, good morning to you. We've got Reba Morris from Hardinsburg, Kentucky. Thank you all for watching. All right, so there it is. We're going to start off with the shroomies. So there's the Morel mushrooms. I think that was a picture in 2023, some of those that I found. And I'm learning lessons along the way. I've shared some of these pictures on Facebook, and I think you're supposed to cut it off a little bit cleaner at the roots, leave the roots so that the spores or the fungi can come back up and don't mess up the soil too much. A lot of different tips as far as those Morel mushrooms. There's one farmer, I'll go name unmentioned, here in Salem that seems to find a field of these Morel mushrooms every season. But for me, back in our woods, I mean, it is a tough hunt. I found like maybe 2 spots where I can usually find some popping up, but it's so difficult to find the right day that a deer hasn't come by or a turkey and just eaten up whatever crop of mushrooms was going to pop up or did pop up, or you get there a day or 2 early and they're like this big. So it's like trying to find that honey hole fishing. And we did find enough one year. I took this picture. It's like the bluegill of the forest is what I call it. And they are delicious if you prepare them correctly. If you like mushrooms, it's kind of a love or hate thing. Some people like them, some people don't. Let me pull up this website Speaking of, and if you have any tips you'd like to share with the group here, feel free. Let me go ahead and remove that, bring this up here. So this is the Morel Mushroom site that I found this morning. And this is thegreatmorel.com Morel sightings. So like the hummingbird sightings, here's one in Salem, Indiana, and you can see that it includes a picture there. They found 8, and that was just 2 days ago. So that was just on Tuesday. So they are starting to pop up. This is perhaps the peak week of Morel season. This was a while ago, found on April 4th. Again, the last week or two, it looks like there has been, and check out all these sightings. People are out hunting some mushrooms right now. Make sure, by the way, you're safe about doing it, and you know what is really a Morel mushroom, so you don't get in trouble with any poisonous mushrooms out there. Or you don't want to get too psychedelic out there in the woods. Be careful about that. All right, so that is the great Morel mushroom hunt right now. And also, let me go back to our pictures here. One tip that I also learned is when those umbrella plants are popping up in the woods, you'll sometimes see that, maybe kind of a clearing where there's not as many trees, where there's a little sunlight that gets by. But I learned that, I just called them umbrella plants, but they're called Mayapples or mandrakes, duck's foot, ground lemon, and hog apple. A lot of nicknames there for that particular plant right there. So sometimes they're there near oak trees, near where a tree got hit by lightning, or a tree fell over, or a tree died, or there's disturbance in the fungus, in the mycelia, I guess, is the underground actual plant that is the fungus. And then when it gets disturbed, it shoots the flowers up. That is the fruit of the fungi, which is the Morel mushroom. Melvin Harden, I think Melvin might be a professional Morel hunter. Dorothy McDaniel, thanks for watching. Kathy Huffman, April Follender, good morning to you. What is that website, Andrew Atchison? That is thegreatmorel.com, Morel. And Andy says, yum. So if you want to go out, it's a fun thing, even if you don't find any, just to take a nice walk in nature, which research says if you get out in the fresh air, you get out around nature, that it does boost your mood and your positivity. So always promote that. All right, we've been talking a lot about mushrooms here for almost 10 minutes. Let's get to your forecast after a couple more slides. I was happy to finally get the yard mowed, the entire yard mowed yesterday. It took a couple of hours. I did take one almost to the eye. You might be like, no, it's right there. I got a little scratch. I was weed eating and a rock flipped up and nailed me right underneath the sunglasses. But I'm here to tell the story, so everything's okay. But and then also, maybe we shouldn't give this shout out, but my wife had me go get the ferns. We always do like 3 ferns there on the back deck. JC in Sellersburg has a sale going on, I think for another day or two. They were busy. I don't know how long they'll last, but those were some of the biggest ferns that we've gotten in several years there at the JC. So just a little tip for you. All right, 68 degrees, our high temperature for today with increasing clouds. As I spoke about right at the very beginning, where there might be a sprinkle or two that makes it through the dry air at the surface. But this is not going to be a big deal. I don't think it's going to be enough precipitation if it hits the ground to cancel anything. My daughter has tennis at 4:30. My son's got baseball. Baseball, softball will play through any very, very light sprinkles that we have. On the tennis courts, you got to watch if you were to get so unlucky that it did make it a little bit wet. But I really think the after-school sports are going to happen. Southeast winds at 5 to 15. Now also keep in mind, if you're going to be out, again, watching the kids this evening, 68 seems warm, but I think the winds will start to pick up towards sunset. The winds tonight are going to be around 10 to 20. Most of the day the winds are going to be light, but typically we have the winds that die down at nighttime. They're actually going to start to go up a little bit as the system approaches from the west. So it might feel a little bit cooler than that 68. So you still might want the long sleeves out there. And here is a look at that play ball forecast here for you. We're looking at 68 degrees for that high temperature today. And that sprinkle chance, I think, is until about late afternoon, then it'll pass off to the east. So 66 at 6 p.m., 64 at 8. And temperatures are not going to drop off much tonight with that breeze. I'm only giving it about a 20% chance of rain, and I would really call that, again, a sprinkle, otherwise partly cloudy and milder. And then overnight, the winds around 10 to 20. I think we'll only see low temperatures tonight in the upper 50s. So we've had 40s the last couple of nights, and it's going to be a little bit warmer tonight with that low of 57 degrees. Mostly clear sky and, again, a bit breezy out there. Our sunrise at 7:02. You may be noticing, too, we're getting longer days gradually here. We've got the sunrise is now approaching 7 a.m. Our sunset's now after 8:20. And here's that 7-day forecast. We've got tomorrow breezy. So the winds are going to gust probably 30, 35, but it's a straight south wind. So it's going to be a warm wind, 81 degrees. We're talking 10 above normal through our Easter weekend. And I've kind of dropped the rain chances a little bit. That front this weekend's getting hung up to the north. So that is definitely good news if you do have the Easter egg hunts. If you're heading to Racing Louisville or to the Tyler Childers concert Saturday evening, I've gotten questions about all those events. So it looks like we're in pretty good shape overall. It looks like that rain chance is going to be more widespread Saturday to our north. We're close enough to the front, though. I can't rule out some spotty showers passing through tomorrow morning. The severe weather threat is very low. We're going to look at that weather model data in a lot more detail here in just a moment. And then notice our low temperatures are warmer at nighttime. Might be able to crack open the windows if the pollen doesn't affect you during the overnight. Maybe listen to some of the creatures out there, the bugs, some of the frogs that are out there, the spring peepers at nighttime. 80 degrees on Sunday for Easter Sunday. Still, I would call it mostly dry right now. It's looking a little bit more optimistic, and hopefully that trend continues as we fine-tune that forecast. We're getting to some of that high-resolution weather model data tomorrow. Now, behind that front, it'll move through late Sunday night, early Monday is kind of the best rain chance as the front moves through. So Monday morning, keeping some spotty showers around, but this is not a big game changer as far as temperatures as we stay around 70 for that high Monday. We're starting to see, as we get deeper into springtime, that warmer air is winning the battle more often. And 75 Tuesday, upper 70s Wednesday, Thursday. And a lot of the latest data has been showing inch or less rainfall total the entire weekend through Monday morning. So I'm not concerned about any significant flooding at this time. That bullseye of heaviest rain looks like it'll line up around I-70 or maybe even north of I-70 where they might see some inches of rainfall. So this is not this stationary front setup that we had 2 weeks ago that caused historic flooding across the area. It's just not going to be that situation. All right, so there's that Morel mushroom map. Going to look at some current conditions here for you as we look at, and again, you can always follow along here mostly as this is extolmag.com/weather, extolmag.com/weather. You've got our Ben at 10 live there. You're going to have your 7-day forecast, the weather story that I put together as well. That looks at the Storm Prediction Center. And then you got your Storm Prediction Center maps here that look at where severe weather might happen. You can see in the upper left-hand corner. We've got interactive radar. You can also put up the regional radar that will have any alerts that might pop out. We've got the NDOT cameras here ready to go for you. So lots of different tools. And there you can see we started with sunshine this morning if you're up early enough. And then now we've got these high clouds filtering in ahead of that warm front. So we're starting to see a little bit of cloud cover. There's a look at I-65 at Sellersburg. I believe that is exit 7. So just looking at some of the cameras there. And now back to the website. And we are now in the 50s, so starting to warm up already. I'll go ahead and bring this up full screen. There we go. Go totally full screen. And so in the 50s here, the wind has shifted. Yesterday it was from the northwest. Now it's from the southeast. and we're seeing a little bit of returns out to the west. There's going to be a big question mark about, again, how much of that is actually going to hit the ground. So I'm going to back up our view a little bit more, and we will see the precip off to our northwest. So that steadier rain will stay northwest of us as we're just kind of on the very tail end of any very light precip chance around our area. So that is a very easy to use interactive radar. There are alerts on there. If there were any alerts, is really nothing for our area at this time. Temperatures again in the 50s, making it, I think some urban areas might touch near 70 degrees this afternoon, but generally speaking, a lot of southern Indiana, it looks like it'll be topping out in the upper 60s for this afternoon. Lily and Lasley, thanks for watching here this morning. Beverly saying she used to work at JC. They'll be on sale again for Mother's Day. There you go. There's another tip for those ferns. Teresa Thomas, spending some time outside today. Yeah, even with that sprinkle chance, get out there and enjoy. It's going to be pretty nice. April, I love the play ball forecast with grandchildren that play soccer. Yeah, it is a busy time for soccer and baseball and softball and tennis and all the fun sports. So trying to help out with that, after school forecast. Robert Simpson, thank you very much for tuning in. And Lori Daly, any more chances for frost? Safe to plant? My gut says that it is safe to plant. I just looked at like the 2-week outlook of the GFS weather model because it takes it to May 2nd, right before Derby Day there, which is 16 days away. Derby Day, it's creeping up on us. And it's above normal weather pattern is basically in the forecast here. We'll look at the Climate Prediction Center, backing up my thoughts as well on that warmer than average weather pattern. That would be my Ben on a limb prediction. No more frost. I hope we can stick to that, and hopefully we're not wrong on that. But me and the Climate Prediction Center calling for above normal temperatures. Good question there from Lori. So thanks for again tuning in here this morning. It is now up to 10:17, and it's time to dig in. We are going to be looking at all the weather model data, just a very light precip chance for today, not going to be a big deal here for us. And then we're going to be looking at the weekend rain chances, which so far is looking better for our area. And again, every day we've been watching the Falls of the Ohio.org cam, starting to see those levels diminish. We're only about a foot above the normal pool stage, so well below flood stage. Nice to see the trunk of those trees and some of the rapids there by the Falls of the Ohio. So things all improving along the waterfront. All right, let me go ahead and bring up our weather graphic system. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up full screen as well. And there you can see some of that light precipitation out to the west. The pressure gradient, those lines of equal air pressure, if you look closely, you can see that. They're pretty far apart over our area, which means the winds will be pretty light for much of today. But then as that system gets a little bit closer to our area, we're going to see the wind starting to pick up a little bit. So this is where the pressure gradient is getting a little bit closer. Those lines of equal air pressure are a little bit tighter out there. So we're going to see the winds pick up later this evening and through the overnight at about 10 to 20. And then tomorrow, that pressure gradient gets even tighter, and we could have some wind gusts up to around 30, 35 miles per hour. So warm front activity is what we're looking at out there, out to the west. Let me go ahead and bring up another scene here for you, and this is going to be a look at the current conditions. So notice here those warm 60s out to the west. So we're doing a little analysis here of the surface map. So we're starting to get into this flow. We've got the warm front that's just out to the west of us that'll lift through this afternoon. Look at this, all of this warm air right here, that warm air mass is shifting to the northeast, and that is what we get to enjoy. But also notice that, winter is still trying to have a say up to the north, but thankfully we've got, what will be summer trying to push up from the south, and the spring warmth is going to win the battle for us over the Ohio Valley through the extended outlook. So we're going to be on, if you want to be warm, we're going to be on the good side here of this battleground. And that battleground is likely going to set up just off to our north through the weekend. So we're going to see a stationary front right about here. So that's where the more widespread rain is going to be. And we're just kind of on the southern edge of that. So we might see some spotty showers late tonight or late Friday night into Saturday morning. But it looks like the repeated thunderstorms will likely stay off to our north. So that is a positive trend that we're seeing in some of the weather model data. Just looking at some more comments here before we get to the reflectivity, that future radar here. Beverly Haggis, will it be nice? I might have to make it an ice cream run to Norma Jean's. That sounds delicious. Yeah, I think it will be just fine for that, for sure. Sherry said, I'm ready to get these indoor plants outside. I think we're almost ready to pull the trigger on that one. Laura, the golfing forecast for my hubby tomorrow. All right, so if you're on a north-facing hole, your hubby will hit it 400 yards. If he's on a south-facing hole, he'll hit it 58 yards. It's going to be one of those days. So, like, half of it you're battling the wind, and the other half you're let's try to hit this as far as we can possibly do it. Because again, 30-mile-an-hour winds, but 80 degrees. I would recommend some sunscreen as the sun angle is getting higher in the sky, and you can get sunburn. Good point there, Sherry. Thanks for liking and sharing. Please subscribe. Let more folks know about it. The more you share, the more new folks, new friends that we can get on board here watching our daily program. Ben at 10 is what you're watching here this morning on this April 17th. All right, let's get back to, I did talk a little bit here about the Climate Prediction Center, and we've been talking, I know you've been talking a little bit about planting. So this, again, is just backing up my thoughts on above normal temperatures. The Climate Prediction Center, this is through the 10 days. So 6 to 10 days out, overall above normal temperatures. So this would pretty much prevent any frost chances. So that's looking good. The below normal temperatures well to the northwest. And if we look at the 8 to 14 days, so 2 weeks out, still looking at a trend of above normal temperatures for actually much of the United States, but certainly including us here in the Ohio Valley. So that is the Climate Prediction Center and their prediction of overall. There are still little fluctuations. You might have a cool day mixed in, but when you level it all out, average it out, above normal temperatures. Now, with that chance of some rainfall, would we see any severe weather this weekend? And again, it looks like that trend is a little farther north with a lot of that rain, and that is certainly good news. Storm Prediction Center has a threat of severe weather out towards Omaha today and Iowa. And it looks like that severe weather threat tomorrow will stay off to our northwest. So there you can see that over where that front is lining up is where that best chance for some strong thunderstorms will be. That's going to be St. Louis to Indianapolis, Chicago, up to our northwest. So even if we get some thunderstorms, it looks like that threat of severe weather all weekend long is going to be very low. Now this is a look at Saturday's severe weather threat. The Storm Prediction Center has us under level 1 out of the 5 severe weather risk categories. Again, super low threat of severe weather with a little bit higher threat in southern Missouri, Arkansas, into southeastern Oklahoma, and into Texas. So I personally am not overly concerned about any thunderstorms getting crazy out there for us. All right, here we go. Let's move into some high resolution weather model data in the terms of future radar. And we're going to bump this ahead to basically the time frame right now and see how well it's doing. Yeah, it's doing pretty good because we just looked at the radar and satellite, and there are some returns on the radar, meaning some very light rain, some of it probably not touching the ground. And this is stopped here basically right now. So as we move this forward, we'll go to 1 p.m. just after lunchtime and starting to see, again, maybe a sprinkle starting to hit the ground. At the very best, if a cloud could do it, there might be a brief light rain shower with this. But again, it's going to be battling the dry air at the surface. We're going to bump this ahead. Now we are looking at 2 p.m. And it's just, again, very light stuff as we've got a little energy in the mid-levels of the atmosphere passing on through. But this is a good thing today with this warm front, in my opinion, because it is bringing in the warmer conditions for the weekend. It is transporting us to a warmer atmosphere is basically what it's doing. Okay, this is looking at 3, 4 o'clock, and this is going to look a little bit heavier, but I still think it's on the very light side. It is still battling the dry air. So this is around 5 o'clock. Probably best chance of sprinkles is going to be late afternoon as this passes on through. And this won't linger all that long. Notice I've got this stopped here at 8 o'clock. And this right here is 8 p.m. So kind of a mid to late afternoon thing with this sprinkle chance. And again, not a big deal here for us with that. All right, so that is our meager little rain chance for today. Going to go ahead and bring up the GFS. We're still a little bit far out to get into the high resolution weather model data as far as the weekend rain chances. And so we're looking at today is the 17th. I'm going to bump this to the 18th tomorrow afternoon. And we'll start to see that rain lining up to our west. I'll back up the view a little bit more. So now we're starting to set up the stationary front late Friday. This is Friday at 5 p.m. But notice it's close, but it looks like we will stay primarily dry for our Friday and Friday evening. Now here is a look at 11 p.m. Friday night. We've got a little bit of energy getting close enough riding along that front that perhaps we do see a shower chance in southern Indiana. Looks like this is still not a huge chance, but it's going to be late Friday night and into Saturday morning when we're close enough to that front. So notice just a little bit of kind of spotty, showery activity. This is at 8 o'clock Saturday morning. So the trends, as I've been mentioning, we're going to start to see it here. Notice it's a lot heavier along and north of I-70 up in central Indiana, central Illinois. So here we go. This is at 2 p.m. Saturday. And since we're on the warm side, this means the south winds continue to pump into that front. And so I'm going to keep it around 80 degrees, 80, 81 tomorrow, around 80 Saturday. We're on the warm side of this thing, and a lot of that rain looks like it is still staying to the north of us. All right, jumping ahead here. This is at 5 o'clock Saturday. 8 o'clock Saturday, and 11 o'clock. Again, we've got Tyler Childers concert. A lot of people big fan of him here. It looks like we're in good shape there. The racing game is match is already over by that time. And this is at 11 p.m. Saturday. As we get into the evening time, perhaps some passing showers, but the energy for the stronger thunderstorms off to the west and northwest. All right, going into Sunday morning. A couple showers possible, kind of spotty. It doesn't look super heavy here for us. This is at 8 a.m. So yeah, we might need the umbrellas for those sunrise services, those early morning services Sunday morning. The Easter egg hunts might not be too bad. Notice it looks very light here. This is at 11 a.m. Sunday morning. I would say overall Saturday looks a little bit drier during the day than Sunday, but Sunday's still not looking too shabby here for us. Now, as we look at Sunday night, it looks like we're going to get this system to get a trailing cold front to pass through our area, and that will increase our rain chances for Sunday night and into Monday morning. We might get a few strong thunderstorms that move through. This is at 11 p.m., so that means a lot of the daytime is dry. All right, and here's the latest timing on that front moving through our area. And this is 2 a.m. I'll just pause it here. So it looks like for us, the most widespread chance, the highest chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms late Sunday night and into Monday morning. I still think the overall severe weather threat is going to be low with this system. I can probably go ahead and bring up the surface cape. This is the available energy for strong thunderstorms. That is super low. So one of the ingredients that we look for severe weather is very much on the low end. So this is not just surface, but this is the available potential energy for the storm fuel throughout the depth of the atmosphere, the most unstable cape, and it is also very low. So I just want to show you that just one of the ingredients that we look at is low as far as severe weather. And well, for me, we'll always take that. So there's the front. It's moving through. This is 2 a.m. We're going into 5 a.m. Monday morning. So I did keep a chance of some kind of lingering showers into Monday morning and before it starts to look drier Monday afternoon. This is 11 a.m. and then here is 2 p.m. Monday afternoon, then 5 p.m. Monday afternoon, that system moving off to the east. Beyond that, I really don't see a whole lot in the works Tuesday, Wednesday, and past that. The weather models are just pretty jumbled and not a whole lot of accuracy there. But as the Climate Prediction Center said, late next week and the following couple of weeks, as we get toward Derby week, and again, Derby Day only, I think, 16 days away, the weather pattern was showing some 80s and some warmer than normal temperatures. All right, looking at some comments. Laura, sounds windy. Yeah, tomorrow windy. JK's, thanks for watching this morning. And Linda Anderson joined the show. Thank you so much for tuning in here. And yeah, Laura, no severe weather, I hope. Yeah, I just think that severe weather threat is super duper low for us. So it should not be a significant threat here for us. So that's a lot of the weather model data there for you. See if I missed anything with the weather model data. We got the SPC, we looked at the Climate Prediction Center, we looked at the Cape, so we're in good shape there. I'm going to go ahead and bring up, there's a live shot of the river levels. And so, just love sharing some good news here. There you can see the upper gauge of the Ohio River. If you've driven over the bridge, you've noticed day by day that the river levels have been going the right direction, and that is definitely downward here for us. So right now it looks like we're right at 13 feet. And if you're familiar with the upper gauge, 12 feet is normal pool. And so just gradually getting right back to normal pool, only a foot above where it typically is when we do not have any flooding concerns. So well below flood stage, which is at 23 feet. We're 10 feet below flood stage with the Ohio River through downtown and the waterfronts in New Albany and Jeffersonville and Clarksville. So we're all in good shape there. Just an interesting map that my father-in-law, Scott Bell, will share with me sometimes this time of the year, now through early May, I believe. This was the migration, and I don't know how they get this. There must be some tagged birds or something like that. But this right now, the migration was a little bit higher with the migrating birds over the central United States, parts of the Midwest as well, basically west of the Mississippi River. But you may want to just check this every once in a while. This is a lot of times these birds will migrate at nighttime. But you might see a lot of variety of birds that you typically don't see in our area making their way to the north. From Mexico, Central America. This is birdcast.info, and it's been changing day by day. There wasn't much migration over the last couple of days, and now we're starting to see more and more migration. I haven't seen any hummingbirds yet. I do have the hummingbird feeders out, waiting to see if they'll come back to our backyard. I'm sure they will. Alice Young, you're the best. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Hopefully providing some content that you can enjoy. Hopefully a little entertainment every once in a while as well. And if you weren't on in the very beginning, this was a site that I found because it's Morel mushroom hunting season. So this is a look at the latest Morel mushroom. This was in Charlestown on the 4th. They were already finding them there. This was up in Kurtz, Indiana. First Morels in my honey hole. There you go. That was last week. So that was about 7 days ago. So they are firing up might be time to take that hike around the woods if you're into that kind of thing. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in here. I've been looking over some of the comments here. Again, if you have any suggestions, make this your show. If you're not seeing what you want to see, please let me know about it. I know I got to do the recap of the forecast. A lot of times we'll start with the forecast. If you want to see that 7-day, feel free to be like, stop the show, Ben. I want to see that 7-day forecast. I got to go. And we can definitely take the time to do that. But I start with kind of the meat and potatoes of the forecast, and then we usually wrap up with that as well. So let me go ahead and bring it back up here. And we'll back it up to today's forecast. And then we'll say goodbye here shortly. So 68 degrees, that forecast for today. We're getting closer to normal. The normal high temperature is 70 degrees. Our sunset at 8:21 now. We already have increasing clouds outside, and we might see some of those sprinkles mid-late afternoon. Southeast winds at 5 to 15 through the afternoon, but I think those winds will start to increase towards sunset through the overnight, around 10 to 20 miles per hour as the system gets a little bit closer to our area. That play ball forecast, partly cloudy and milder this evening in the 60s. However, if you're in that tricky Borden Valley or some other valley like that where it's just a wind funnel, it can feel a little bit cooler than those temperatures. So sometimes it can be a little bit misleading. You might still want to bring that jacket just in case. If you don't need it, no big deal. I'm bringing the winds up to about 15 late in the evening, but it looks like we'll be in the 60s. All right, 57, that low for tonight. So we had some chilly last couple nights. The warm front's already lifted north of us, and now we're in the warm zone. 57 for that low temperature. South winds at around 10 to 20 miles per hour for tonight. Robert Simpson, glad to hear it's mushroom hunting time. There you go, especially with 80 this weekend. This might be the very peak of it. Steve Gibbons, thank you so much for saying that. Glad to be here with you. And we've got 81 in that forecast tomorrow. It will be a windy Friday. Going to be gusty out there, but it's a warm wind from the south at around 30 to 35 with some of those gusts tomorrow. Notice our low temperatures at nighttime. Warming up, lower 60s. We've got 80 degrees Saturday. And I'm giving it about a 40% chance of some spotty rain showers in southern Indiana. A lot of Kentucky is going to be a lot drier, farther away from that stalled out front up around I-70. So there's going to be that more widespread rain up to the north. 80 degrees on Sunday for Easter Sunday. Still keeping a chance for a few spotty rain showers around. But it looks like our heaviest rain, the chance for thunderstorms, will be late Sunday night and possibly during the overnight into early Monday. Still thinking a low severe weather threat with that. There might be a lingering shower Monday morning. So just going 40, 40, 40 with those rain chances. I think there's plenty of dry periods to get out and about this weekend. We only dropped to 70 for that high temperature Monday. So again, that warmer weather pattern is winning overall. So not that much cooler behind the front, down to 50 Monday night. 50 our coldest night of the 7-day forecast. So this gets rid of any frost chances for us as well. We'll get a 75 on Tuesday, and then back up possibly into the upper 70s next Wednesday, Thursday. A lot of their weather models are pretty muddy, meaning not clear once we get a little bit farther out. And I just put a 30% chance there Thursday. The GFS was printing out a couple showers, but I did not see any significant storm systems on the way really through the middle of next week. All right, we're coming up here to 10:40. Thank you so much for all the comments here this morning with Ben at 10. If you're watching a little bit later this afternoon or this evening, I do try my best to get back through those comments. If you have any questions, please drop it in there. Also, drop in a like or a share, whether you're watching on Extol Media on YouTube. We're trying to grow that channel. And on my Facebook page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, please hit the share button on that and spread the word that we're doing this Ben at 10. And we also have the replays on Extol Weather. Pretty new Facebook page that'll have all things weather on there. Please go ahead and get the follow there on Extol Weather. Extolmag.com/weather for even more resources at your fingertips at any time with a free and easy to use interactive radar. It's got temperatures, it's got winds, it's got severe weather alerts, pretty much all you need there at extolmag.com. tgif.com/weather. All right, that'll do it. Thanks so much for watching on this Thursday, April 17th, 2025. Happy Friday Eve. We'll see you for TGIF tomorrow.